You're listening to Cross Rhythms Plymouth 96.3 FM, and I've got the privilege of being joined online by Lou Fellingham. Hi, Lou.
Hello, it's good to see you.
Hi, it's great to have you joining me. We're going to talk specifically with Lou about an event that's coming to the Southwest pretty soon, actually, Saturday, the 25th of March. But I'm sure most of you listening to this will have heard of Lou, maybe been involved in listening to some of her music over the years, one way or another. And on your website, Lou, you describe yourself as a worship leader, singer-songwriter, speaker, kind of a few strings to your bow. But I wondered if you'd introduce yourself to me and to our listeners as to kind of, what's current for you at the moment. What are you involved in right now? What are you passionate about? What's big in your life right now?
Well, there are so many things, actually. I live in Brighton by the sea, which I love, living by the sea. I'm married to a guy called Nathan, and we have three children, Jessie, Ella, and Jude. Jessie moved out in September. So I'm in the beginnings of that kind of empty nesting when the children begin to kind of do their own thing. I mean, you bring them up to do their own thing, and then they actually go and do it, I'm not agree with that. But yeah, we are really just passionate about sharing the love of God in any way that we can, and equipping the church and encouraging people in their faith. And so we do that through Worship Wednesdays, which is basically where we go online for half an hour every Wednesday morning and lead worship live. People join us on Facebook, they join us on YouTube, and if they can't make the moment anymore, then they do that throughout the week. They catch up through the week. We also started these women's conferences, so that's quite time consuming. And then we have lots of other little bits and pieces that we get involved in along the way.
Yeah, right. Busy. And the Worship Wednesdays, then obviously that's a big thing that you've been doing for a little while.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because obviously it's a slightly different way of doing things. It seems to me slightly post-COVID motivated, possibly in the sense that it's all digital and connecting digitally. Was that part of the motivation? How did that come about?
Yeah, so basically, obviously, everything, well, not obviously, but if you know anything about us, what we do is live events. And
Sure.
so before COVID, that's what we did. We went around, we traveled, we led worship, we did gigs, we did all sorts of things like that. And we were about to launch a series of women's conferences when we did our first one. And a week later, I thought, I've got the week to rest. And then the children came home from school and the world went into lockdown and everything got cancelled. At that point, it's like, right, so what are we going to do now? And a good friend of ours called Ollie Knight started a thing called Come and Sing With Me. And on that, he was basically leading the church or invite people to join him Monday to Friday for half an hour in the mornings. And it was really that intent to keep the church singing, even though they couldn't be singing together next to each other. They could still do it online. And that was the seed that began something. And then after doing a couple of months of that, realizing he couldn't really sustain it because it was indefinite.
Yeah, sure.
Began to invite friends to join him. We took one on in May, so it's going to be 3 years in May that we started.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't quite believe it. And we really felt God's smile on doing it. It was a place where we felt there was favor, and we really enjoyed doing it. So we began to pick it up every Wednesday. Then we started a thing called Coffee Morning online, where it was like a taster of what the conference would be, but it was for everybody, not just women, where we led worship, I preached, I did an interview with a friend, and things just have grown from there. And I think we haven't stopped the Worship Wednesdays because although obviously everyone's out and about and working now, there's a real community that has stayed online as well. And I think there are still many people who can't go out to church, but also it's not supposed to be one or the other. It's supposed to be a time when in the middle of the week we can gather together, we can sing together, we can pray for one another. So people put prayer requests up, we can care for one another and enjoy God together. And that has just continued throughout COVID and then coming out of COVID.
Yeah, so good. It's become a time when the kind of hybrid is there, isn't it? You kind of take the best bits of online and take the best bits of of meeting in person and all that side of things. Because I imagine there's people who tune in on a Wednesday who'd never get a chance to come and see you physically on a Wednesday morning, and it would be much harder for you. So it's great. It's really cool to hear.
It's taken the best of those moments, isn't it? So obviously there was a lot of devastation and a lot of sorrow through COVID. And there was a lot of loss in terms of church life, but actually there have been some really good bits in terms of like how everyone is able to connect now much more,
Right.
digitally. And so it's kind of trying to continue to cultivate some of that as we go along.
Love it. Love it. And fair play to you for doing it consistently for 3 years. That's a
Yeah,
big commitment.
thanks.
And I know it's made a big difference to personally people in my family. Have really enjoyed and connected for some time and connect regularly. That regularity makes a big difference. If you want to connect with that, loufellingham.com is Lou's website. I'll raise that again in conversation about the Made for You conference, but loufellingham.com. And there's a bit of information about there about Worship Wednesdays. And as you mentioned, you can connect with it on a number of different social media platforms. So that's exciting. Well, that's not the main reason we're actually speaking today. We're speaking today about Made for You women's conferences. And now Made for You is coming to Liskeard here in the Southwest on Saturday, the 25th of March, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we're going to stop for some music now, and then we're going to pick up the conversation with Lou and talk more about the conference after this. You're listening to Cross Rhythms Plymouth 96.3 FM, and I've got the privilege and pleasure of being joined on the line by Lou Fellingham. And we talked a little bit about some of the things that you're up to at the moment, Lou. And you mentioned briefly in that last section that Made for You women's conferences is something that you are really passionate about and getting started and getting involved in. There's one coming to the Southwest, which is kind of the primary reason for this interview. But can you tell us a bit more broader about the conferences? Why have you put them on? What is it that has inspired you to do these?
Yeah, I think basically Nathan and I, as I've said, have got 3 children, and the honest trigger, the starting point was a sense of we want to continue to minister. We have many hats that we wear, but we also need to be home for our children. When you're parenting children, and you do need to be home when they're small as well, but it's definitely a season to be present. And
Sure.
so we're trying to pray and think about how do we continue to do ministry, continue to do the things that we're called to do outside of the home while still being very present in the home. So started with a conversation with a friend, and he said, why don't you think about bringing everything together and doing a conference? And when he said that, I thought, oh, that's a great idea. And so that was the kind of it's kind of snowballed from there. I love ministering. I love preaching. I love leading worship. I love endorsing other people. So getting other worship leaders in, getting other speakers in is really exciting. And I love to gather women. I think when we come together, women are wonderful. And I'm not saying that men aren't too, but on this occasion, I just want to encourage the women that we are wonderful.
Absolutely.
We are of value. We have a great thing to bring to society, and I just really to strengthen women and encourage them in their walk with God. And so just drawing all these different pieces together, all these different strands, culminating in thinking, let's do a women's conference. And we've done a couple already. They've been really, really powerful days. To see so many women gathered in the room together has been extraordinary. To hear them sing together. At the start of each day, I do my makeup, I try and look as good as I can, but within the first minutes, I'm already weeping because it's just so precious to hear all the women gathered together. Then the chatter during the day, the worshiping together, the singing together, the listening and responding, and also the connections that's happening. It's a very, very special day. And we've really known God speak to many ladies while we've brought this day together about their walk with him. And then hopefully that will have impact on their homes, their families, in their workplaces, in their local church, and further afield. We're really believing God for great things.
Yeah, love it. And it's one of those things, as you say, you've done a couple already. They're right across the country, so you really are traveling kind of wide wherever you can take this, which is really exciting. And we're really grateful that you're coming here in the Southwest. It's part of the country is a bit on a limb sometimes, and sometimes some of these things don't travel this far. So we're really grateful that you're coming to Liskeard, which is just down the road from us here in Plymouth. So very excited. So Saturday the 25th of March is the date for your diaries, listeners. 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The venue is St. Martin's Church in Liskeard. You can find out loads more information at loufellingham.com and click on events, and you'll find Made for You on there. But can you tell us a bit specifically about this event? Because a couple of speakers, you've got Kathy Madavan and Ellie Line-Bear. Can you tell us a bit about them and kind of some of the things that women can expect from the conference itself?
Yeah. So within the day, I will be preaching and I will be leading worship. But you don't just want to listen to me. There's a lot of wealth in the country, and so I've invited my good friend Kathy Madavan to come and speak. She's now living in Bristol at the moment. She's pastoring a church there with her husband. She's a worldwide renowned author, speaker. It's always good to get people that are better than you. So I've invited Kathy and Ellie. And they are both joining us. Ellie Line-Bear is a worship leader as well, songwriter in her own right. And she travels around the UK and also around the world leading worship. And she has a real gift and anointing as she leads. So she's going to be leading some of the worship. I have a couple of other little sessions up my sleeve, which are going to be a surprise.
Nice.
And it's a combination of really asking God to do a deep work in us. I don't just want to pat ourselves on the back and make ourselves feel nice. We believe that when we gaze out on Jesus, when we fix our attention on him, we are changed. And so we want to be changed in a good and a deeper way in our love for him. But we will also have a lot of fun. I also very much believe in having a laugh. So there's a lot of fun in the day as well. And I just want to encourage any ladies, you don't have to be feeling really on top of the world. You don't have to be feeling at your kind of peak of your spiritual life. This is a place for all of us to come wherever we are. The kind of playing field is level because we come because of Jesus, no matter where we are, what we're feeling, whatever's going on in our lives. That's our starting point. So my encouragement to all the ladies out there is, however you're feeling, whether you feel like you should be in the room or you shouldn't be in the room, I want to encourage you that you should be, because it's because of Jesus.
So good. That's so good. I mean, that's a really interesting place to bring the conversation. I always ask guests when it's in relation to a conference, because we have listeners from right across faith spectrum who would definitely call themselves Christian, been a Christian for a long time. Maybe those who are kind of intrigued and interested, but not quite there to say that they're Christians yet. Would you say it's open to kind of anyone in terms of that kind of faith spectrum, as it were?
Absolutely.
In terms of that, is there stuff for like new and non-believers in that sense as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're very much talking about our Christian faith. So that's I'm not kind of treading carefully in that way. So we will be singing songs that we'd be singing in congregational settings, in church settings, all of that sort of thing. But I think it is a place where you can come, whether you've been a Christian for many years, whether you have just become a Christian, or you're just looking. I think there'll be stuff for you to hear, stuff for you to find out more about the faith. And potentially, you might at the end of the day decide, yeah, I want to know this Jesus. So it's definitely a place where anyone in that faith spectrum can come.
Yeah, love it. That's really, really good. And definitely, recommend those speakers. I know Kathy Madavan's come to the Southwest a few times, I think, spoken in conferences in Plymouth a good few times. Ellie Line-Bear as well is an artist that we play quite a lot on Cross Rhythms. So be no stranger to our listeners here. So when it comes to booking the tickets, looks like go onto your website, follow the instructions there. What's the best way for people to get in touch if they want to find out more and to kind of book their place?
Yeah, so if you go onto loufellingham.com, there will be an icon that you can click on that's for Liskeard particularly. And if you click on that, it'll give you more information about the day, what to expect, even the schedule, so you have a rough idea of what's going on. And then it says book tickets, and you can go through and book a ticket for the day. And it should be really, really simple. We've kept it as easy as possible for everybody to be able to just do that. The day, we will serve tea and coffee throughout the day for you, and we do invite people to bring their own lunches. It was one step too far for my brain to get lunch for everybody. So bring your own packed lunch, but we serve tea and coffee throughout the day. And just come expectant that you're going to shift a bit closer to God, whatever part of that line you're on.
No, so good. Love that. It's really, really exciting and so pleased, as I say, that you're bringing this to the Southwest. Ticket price from the website, £30 plus a 50p booking fee. So really good value in terms of that. Obviously, we're here in Plymouth, so it's a little bit of a drive. So I'd say if you're listening to this, speak to people in your church, maybe friends that you think might want to go along. See if you can car share, see if you can kind of split some of that cost. But it's not too far of a drive, so you can get that or a train down to Liskeard. And the church, again, is St. Martin's Church in Liskeard. So get yourself onto loufellingham.com and get yourself to Made For You conference Saturday, the 25th of March, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Lou, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and wish you all the best for the conference.
Thank you so much, Dave. Nice to speak to you.